Finding problems, that's easy. They exist in every community. I'm Terry Springs, your host. We're looking deeper, and we are talking solutions, finding out how we all can make a difference. Today on Talking Solutions, this is the hardest interview to schedule for both of us. Shalimar Cabrera is with us from U.S. Vets. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It was crazy, and I know why it is.
Yes.
I know I'm busy, but nothing compared to what you have going on. And I can't wait to get all the info out on the Veteran Stand Down
Absolutely.
event. 2 days coming up this next week on Wednesday and Thursday, March 16th and 17th at Cashman Center. First, though, if I could ask Shalimar, what was your path getting to U.S. Vets?
Oh, gosh, my story. Let's call it a bunch of closed doors that ended up resulting in the right one that was supposed to finally open. So, series of different avenues in my career trying to find the right helping profession for me ended up leading me to U.S. Vets because of all my volunteer work in the community since I was young. Ended up responding to an ad in the, at the time, classified newspaper.
Oh, back in the day.
All those years ago, literally had to open a newspaper. And there was an organization called U.S. Vets that was hiring, and it said very short, something like help homeless veterans. And I knew I wanted to get really involved in something that truly made a difference. And I got the job because of my volunteer experience, because I had an unrelated degree in biology, actually. So it was really my volunteer work in the community. And then I quickly fell in love with the field, went back and got my master's degree in social work, and have been with U.S. Vets ever since. That was 13 years ago.
Whoa, so you've been here since the beginning of Veteran Stand Down.
Yes, in Las Vegas.
Has the time gone by quickly?
It has. I can't believe we're doing a 13th annual one. Yeah, time has gone very fast.
I wonder, Shalimar, as far as Veteran Stand Down coming 2 days next week to the Cashman Center on Wednesday and Thursday, March 16th and 17th. You're in your 13th year now. Services, which we will detail, are so comprehensive. It could not have started that way. I mean, haven't you built over the years?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I can remember 13 years ago, we were hosting it outdoors in a small park, and we had, I don't know, maybe 20 agencies that were there at the time. We had about 100 veterans attend, and we did what we could with, as they call, grassroots efforts. And over the years, the need had grown, needing to serve homeless veterans. There were more and more in our community. And then our partnerships had also grown. So now we were becoming more comprehensive. In the beginning, it really did start out just as a homeless veteran stand down. So the services that were there, although few, they were really important. They were housing and medical and substance abuse, of course. Over the years, we have continued those services naturally, but we've also expanded the event to serve at-risk veterans and their families. So not necessarily a veteran who's already homeless, but somebody who needs prevention services and utility assistance. And we just recognize the importance of connecting veterans to mainstream benefits, you know, financial assistance, employment, education. So we're going to talk about all of those. But based on the need that the clients have taught us, we've been bringing more and more services to the event. Now it's 13 years later. We have to have it at Cashman because it's so big. Over 150 different services will be there.
Cashman Center does have a good capacity.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys fill it up pretty nicely.
Yes, I think we do.
Shalimar Cabrera is with us, Executive Director of U.S. Vets. Can you tell us what exactly is U.S. Vets?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked that because the Stand Down is just one event that we do in the year, but our organization serves homeless and at-risk veterans and their families all year round and have been since 2001 in Las Vegas. We're the largest nonprofit organization providing housing and services to this population. We operate 3 locations in town. That includes over 300 beds of transitional and permanent housing. We're actually identifying the veterans where they are in the streets, in the shelters, tunnels, camps, getting referrals from the VA and from other community organizations. Then we bring them into our housing and then provide them with comprehensive services, everything from daily life skills and, of course, hygiene, food, clothing, linens, all the way up to employment and training, counseling, treatment. You know, all the services are very tailored to what the veteran needs to either move on from transitional housing into their own apartment and maintain that apartment, or sometimes put them directly into permanent housing and then surround them with intensive case management and all those other services that they'll need to be able to stay safely in their housing and not have to experience homelessness again. So it's very comprehensive, the services that we provide.
That is so needed. We have so many challenges where our vets are concerned, and I know you know that more than anyone. The men and the women who have done so much for our country and served us so selflessly come back here, and like they say, I'm sure you know Jim Littner and R.J. Doe with Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise. It's like they say, we've promised these individuals who have done so much for us as Americans that we were going to take care of them when they got home.
Absolutely. It's important work, and it's the right thing to be doing now that they need us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They do. And I think that many times upon returning home, these men and women find themselves, for so many reasons, in hopeless situations. And that leads to, I believe, the latest number that I've heard is possibly 22 suicides a day.
Yes, unfortunately.
Shouldn't be happening.
No, it shouldn't. And that number has gone up over the years, which we should be doing a better job of helping that number to go down. Same thing with homelessness. The transition from military life to civilian life can be often very challenging, and sometimes it results all the way up to homelessness or on the brink of homelessness. So that's why we do things like the stand down and why we have the services we do at U.S. Vets.
I'm sure you've seen it. I would bet they're involved in the stand down event coming up next week at Cashman Center. We've talked with our friends at Goodwill and their VIP program, the Veterans Integration Program, that helps with job placement, resumes, training, all kinds of wonderful things. They express such a commitment to doing what they can to help the situation with our veterans.
Goodwill has been a partner of ours for a long time, and they will be there in our employment section, and that's actually the biggest section that we have this year. The employment education section has really grown, which is great because we need to get our heroes back to work and on their feet, earning their income and using the skills that they have for the military.
I like the way you describe them as our heroes, because they are.
They are.
Shalimar Cabrera is with us, Executive Director of U.S. Vets. We're talking about the Vets Stand Down, which is happening next Wednesday and Thursday, March 16th and 17th at Cashman Center. Of course, everything's free.
Everything is free. Absolutely. We are there to cater to the veteran, and thanks to our community sponsors and corporate sponsors, we're able to make the event possible at no charge to veterans who need us.
And I know that it has expanded, as you say, over the years from just helping out homeless vets to also at-risk veterans.
Yes, at-risk veterans. You know, in our community, we're fortunate enough that we can say that we have helped decrease the number of homeless veterans in Las Vegas. We declared what we call functional zero in October, meaning that our community is healthy enough to be able to bring in any veteran that is homeless that's interested in our services. So that's a good thing. But we realize there are still some out there, or still some that are at risk. And when we look at the numbers after the stand-down every year, because we collect a lot of data at the event, that's really important to learn from what we're doing so we can tailor our services the next year. We see that the great majority of them, like 90% of them, are living in poverty. So that tells us that even though they're not homeless, we need to be helping them out now so that they don't have to get to that point. So that's why we filled up all of Cashman, 100,000 square feet full of all the various services. We try to think along the lines of if you're a homeless or at-risk veteran or someone with a very limited income and need connection to services, what are all of those things? And let's get them in the room.
This is why the interview, setting it up and having a time where we could sit down together and talk about the veteran stand down was so difficult to arrange because, Shalimar, I'm sure, does this take you all year long to put together this event?
It's a busy time. There's always prep work and there's always planning and analyzing of data throughout the year. Fortunately, now being at the 13th year, we can start the heavy lifting about 4 to 5 months ahead of time, but this is crunch time. So, you know, as all events go, the weeks before are when things start getting really busy and, you know, you're having to manage all the little details and making sure everything is taken care of because you just want it to be a really good experience for everybody that's involved.
Do you have any estimate? I know in past years when I've seen the coverage on television news, they're always saying the veteran stand down was going on again at Cashman Center, talking about thousands of veterans getting some kind of assistance through this event. So the numbers are pretty big.
Numbers are big, We have had past years where we've surpassed 1,000 veterans. Last year we served 825 veterans and 223 of their family members who came with them. So over 1,000 people are being served at the stand down.
I don't think a lot of people realize how many veterans we have here in the state of Nevada, especially in southern Nevada.
Yeah. Also now with the new Veterans Hospital, I think we're seeing an increase in veterans. And of course, we have the 2 nearby bases. Some people stay after their military service. But we're at top, I think, 5% in the country of veterans per capita in our state.
A lot of veterans. And it's also a great place for vets to retire. Or anyone to retire.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Or to live, be busy all the time, like us. Shalimar, you were mentioning that at the Veterans Stand Down event for 2 days next week at Cashman Center, that the biggest growing area of Cashman Center and the offerings that you've got have to do with education.
Education and employment.
Is that also the most requests that come in from the people who come to visit?
That's a great question. Actually, there's a spectrum of requests, but the number one reason people are saying they're homeless or at risk of homelessness is because of unemployment. We see that on the data and we go, bring as many employers to the event as we can. So even if they're not able to hire on the spot, which we would love them to do that, by the way, any employer who can, please, we welcome you. We understand sometimes there's the background check and the drug testing and all the things that have to go on at the actual company. But we want them in the room, spreading the word about what openings they have. I mean, veterans make great employees. They come with work ethic and leadership and training and commitment. So we want employers to be able to hire from this pool of veterans. And we want to break the stigma. Some might feel that it's not worth their time to be there because homeless veterans aren't ready to go back to work. That's true. But the other services in the building and our agency, our job is to help those veterans get work ready, get back to work because they have the skills. We just need to get them a hand up so they get back to being ready. And it's important for those employers and education providers to be there. And because this is another point, the average age of the veteran that we're seeing at this event or even in our agency in general has gone down because so many younger veterans are coming out of the service in need of the community's help. And many of them, of course, are young enough that they want to go back to school. So education providers are also there.
So the average age is going down. Maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. Maybe part of this is because now when they're coming out after their service, maybe when they return, they go, there are some services out there to help me get back on my feet.
Exactly.
Because there's some adapting back to civilian life that I know has been challenging for veterans in the past.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've heard, like through the VIP program that I'm familiar with Goodwill, is that they take and kind of transform the skills that they carried during their service.
Exactly.
The way that it's described. And interpreting that into the matching traits and abilities.
That's exactly it.
That civilians make sense with.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if it's a civilian who doesn't understand what they did in the military, it's the veteran who we really do have to help to be able to explain that and show that those skills are transferable.
And there's a lot of skills, I know, in the military that you go, how can we use that? One of my friends who works here at Beasley, he's a retired Marine, was an explosives detonation expert. I'm sure that even in Las Vegas, we blow up stuff every now and then, so you never know. But, you have to take those skills and equate them to something else.
Absolutely.
So getting that resume and making sure that they talk about it, even doing a video of like a mock interview to show what you're doing right, what you could improve upon to get you at your best so that job is even easier to line up.
Absolutely.
I know that a lot of employers, especially big employers, have come out in the past few years saying it's important for us to do our part to hire veterans. I know I've heard that a lot from companies like Home Depot, Walmart, big groups like that. But across the board, employing veterans needs to be a high priority for all of us.
Absolutely. And we're so grateful to our employment partners that we work with because one of the services we provide at US Vets is a workforce development program. So we partner with employers throughout the year, help over 100 veterans who were once homeless or incarcerated to get back to full-time employment and then are on their way to maintaining their own permanent housing. So we're so grateful for companies in town that recognize that importance of hiring a hero, is what we tell them.
Shalimar Cabrera is the executive director of U.S. Vets, and they are putting together the 2-day Veterans Stand Down, 13th year for this, and it just keeps growing.
Yes.
It's at Cashman Center next Wednesday and Thursday. That's March 16th and 17th. I'm just doing it off the top of my head, but this has been in the back of my mind for a while because it's such an important event for so many reasons.
It is. It really is. For so many reasons. Like you said, it's important for the community to get together and show veterans that we recognize still their service and their sacrifice. It's important to still connect to the remaining homeless veterans that might be in our city and make it easy for them. Let's bring all of the providers that they would normally have to figure out a bus route if they had a bus pass to get across town to see, from medical to dental to vision to then employment. provider or Social Security. I mean, all of those things could take days to round up. And so we say, bring it all under one roof. This is intensive outreach. We're here to serve you. Everybody's here. We're going to make it easy. We even have volunteers who serve as veteran assistants that become their navigator through the event because we know it's overwhelming. There's 150 different booths. You don't know what everybody serves, 100,000 square feet. There's also hundreds of other veterans there that are trying to mill around the facility. And we have such great support from our volunteers. We had over 500 last year. So sometimes we had a 1-to-1 ratio for a veteran to have their own volunteer assistant to help them get to all of the things that they need to at the stand down.
I like hearing that. That's a very good thing.
Yes.
Well, all the different groups that we talk to as part of our Talking Solutions show, we'll end up talking with Sydney with Horses for Heroes and wonderful nonprofit groups who try to help vets coming back into everyday American life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe people think that when your military service ends and you come back into the mainstream, there won't be anything to trip you up.
Yeah. Or I think some people in the community think, well, what do you mean? They're out of the military, so surely the government is still helping them. What? No, that's not actually what's happening, So it's up to the community, really, to come together. And of course, government agencies are involved in that. But the other important thing is for veterans who have completely a support network and know how to access those resources, well, of course, it's going to be easier. What about the veteran who comes home who doesn't have family anymore or is suffering from a mental health issue as a result of their service? And connecting those things are just not easy. There's so many different layers to getting your benefits and to applying at the VA and registering there and then finding out all of the different services in the community that are available to you.
Well, I know all of these comprehensive services that you have available as part of Veteran Stand Down. There are so many things. I was noticing you have legal assistance. You have, for instance, if they need their military records.
Yes, they can come right there and order them.
And it might be a thing, too, where a veteran returning to American everyday life, maybe they do have some family, but that's far away.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. Another service that we're offering at the stand down, and if it's a homeless veteran who has family elsewhere, if we can contact that family and they verify that they'd be willing for that veteran to come, the city of Las Vegas, another great partner through their neighborhood services, can help them get a ticket to home. So we're doing all kinds of things at the stand down.
You could get them reunited with their family.
Absolutely.
That's a great deal. It sounds like you've got so many things going on at Cashman Center. Next Wednesday and Thursday, March 16th and 17th, absolutely free event.
Yes.
For homeless veterans at risk. How would you define at risk?
At risk means you're on the verge of losing your apartment, perhaps. Maybe you're behind on rent or utilities. And there are services like U.S. Vets, Salvation Army, Help USA, and we have those types of temporary financial assistance that we can provide for that. You may be living okay in your place now, but your hours have perhaps been cut at work. That's not turning out to be a stable position. So if you're not able to keep that, you won't be able to help, keep your housing. So there's lots of definitions of at risk.
You also mentioned, Shalimar, that there are also military family members who are able to take advantage of some of the services.
With their veteran, yeah. As long as it's a veteran household, they can bring their family members. We do have kids. We'll have a children's area. Even pets can come with their vets. And we have some pet providers as well. So, yeah, we're trying to cater to the veteran family, too.
Well, I consider the veteran family having served just as much as the individuals in the service.
I totally agree.
Because it affects families all the way through.
It sure does, yeah.
They serve us as well, so that's good to hear. As far as setting up, 100,000 square feet you've got at Cashman Center, and you've got a lot of things going on. Do you still have room? Do you still have needs?
Yes, we do still have needs. It is 100,000 square feet, and you basically get an empty box of a room.
Yeah, that's
and you have to put all of the service, and you have to put all the services in there, from the drapery and the electrical to the internet to the tables and chairs, and all of those have costs. So we're still looking for sponsors. It is not too late to become a sponsor of the Veteran Stand Down, show that your company supports veterans, and we're happy to put your logo all over our social media and all over the event and have the sponsors come and take a tour and see what's really going on at the stand down. So that is still needed. We still do have room for services, believe it or not. We have a pretty efficient, call them our floor management team, where they're really using the space efficiently to make sure everybody can still fit and be conducive to, a positive environment. And then, of course, we need volunteers. We love volunteers, and everybody can look at these opportunities on our website and still sign up to help out. So we'll make sure to give that link as well.
Definitely. Links, all the website information. Also, we'll have it on our Talking Solutions Facebook page, plus a podcast of today's discussion.
Yay, I love podcasts.
I'm a podcast girl, I'll tell you that. As far as the website itself, I've got it down as usvetsinc.org/Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
usvetsinc.org/Las Vegas. And as we mentioned, it will be on the Talking Solutions Facebook page. So if somebody was wanting to find out more about the event, they can certainly check the website. If they want to step up and volunteer.
Website, our Facebook page, which is US Vets LV, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. We'll have all the information about the event. Yeah. And so we want volunteers to register ahead of time so we can know who to expect and how many we're expecting. But even if they haven't registered yet, it's not too late. They can still do that through our website and they can show up at the event. We'll take them. The event is 16th and 17th, as we've been mentioning, but setup day is the 15th, the day before, of course. Then we have to make the stand down, erect it basically at Cashman. And so there's all kinds of things to do. One thing we haven't talked about is our stand down store. We were talking about free services.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah. So the stand down store, I still venture to say we're the only stand down in the country that does it this way, where we set up a store for free for veterans to shop in. So for the last 4 or 5 months, we've been collecting donations from the community of clothing, non-perishable food, shoes, bags, hygiene items, linens, towels, all of that. And that sorting of it is going on behind the scenes right now. And then on Tuesday, we bring all the things that we've acquired over the last few months and we hang them on racks and we size them and we make little departments. So it feels and looks like a store, but they're shopping for free.
I did hear about that. I know Humana was one of the groups that was getting together the donations.
Yes, they were. Humana has been our clothing store sponsor for many years, and they take donations for us for months and months before this stand down. We're so grateful.
Well, there are so many groups here in Southern Nevada who want to do things to help our veterans. But as you mentioned, they're scattered. I mean, if you want to do something employment related or educational or resume or housing
or medical
or anything. You've even got haircuts and showers.
Yes, let me give a shout out to Nellis Air Force Base. They make the showers possible for us every year. We have a memorandum of understanding that allows them to bring out the shower and shave units that they would normally deploy overseas. As long as those units are in town, they let us use it for the stand-down, and they themselves have their civil engineering squadron who set it up and operate the showers so the veterans can come do that and then sit in a barber chair by actual barbers and get their haircut.
Just so many things going on.
Yeah.
What's the time frame? Did I see 8:30 to 4:30 each day?
8:30 to 4:30 on both days.
I think that's when I was putting it on the website, community events, that I remember seeing the actual hours. And we put links and everything there. But there is so much going on. If you know anybody who has ties, veterans, homeless veterans, at-risk veterans, families of veterans, and we all know someone who fits this description because we do have a lot of vets here in Southern Nevada.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of vets in need in Southern Nevada. A lot. We're among the 25 top cities for homeless veterans in the country.
Got to be getting better, though.
It is getting better. So we did the last homeless count in January. We're still crunching those numbers as a community, but I can give you last year's numbers. That homeless count revealed about 692 homeless veterans, and that was a 43% decrease over the last year.
That's huge.
So we were so happy to see that number going down, but we know that they're still out there, and we know that there are some who might be facing homelessness right now, and so we still think, because we literally did sit and go, do we still need a veteran stand down if we've declared functional zero among homelessness? And we realized we need it more than ever right now because there's still hundreds that are out there. Let's connect to them and bring them in. And then you have to increase the prevention services. So even if we were to reach all homeless veterans at the stand down and bring them all into housing, we'd know that we would still have to provide them with prevention services because now it's more important to make sure they stay in that housing so their homelessness doesn't reoccur and they don't have to be out there again.
Make sure they're in that right job.
Yep.
Make sure things are just as good as we could possibly make them for our vets.
That they're connected to medical services, and many of them haven't seen a provider in a long time. That they're connected to counseling if they need it, and treatment if they need it. All of the things they need to stay in housing.
And this is the place to do it.
Yes.
Veteran Stand Down is next Wednesday and Thursday, March 16th and 17th at Cashman Center from 8:30 to 4:30 each day. Still looking for some volunteers.
Volunteers and sponsors, too. Yep. Not too late.
All of that. We would love it. And so you can check the website for more information on the event itself or to get involved yourself at usvetsinc.org/Las Vegas, usvetsinc.org/Las talkingsolutions.org/Las Vegas. Links, the podcast, everything on our Talking Solutions Facebook page. Is there anything else we can do to help?
This is what's helping the most is spread the word, right? So now we've prepared for all the services to be in the house. Now let's bring the veterans. So I agree with what you said. If you know anybody who needs this type of a service at all, please send them our way to the Cashman Center.
Best way you can show love to a veteran is to make sure we get the word out and get them the help that they may be needing.
Absolutely.
It is the Veteran Stand Down. Shalimar Cabrera, the Executive Director of U.S. Vets, has been with us today. Thank you so much for making time in this busy schedule.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It's a great opportunity.
Thanks for joining us on Talking Solutions.